Hello, and thank you for attending today's webinar, Lymphatic Success Secrets, How Touch and Tech Transform Wellness, presented by American Spa and LPG America. I'm John, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. Now, before we start, just a few housekeeping notes for everybody here today. To learn more about our speakers, you can visit the speaker bio window on your screen. Additional resources can also be found in the handouts window on your screen. If you accidentally close one of these windows, don't worry, you can reopen it by clicking on its name in the top navigation bar. This webinar is also being recorded, and it will be available on demand within 24 hours. And finally, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar today, so feel free to submit your questions at any time. Just use the Submit Questions window on your screen. And now I have the pleasure of introducing our speakers. Joining us today, Rebecca Faria, Brazilian lymphatic drainage specialist and wellness expert, and Alexander Terleur, founder at Contour Room. We'll start with Rebecca. Over to you.
Hi, guys. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Rebecca. I'm so happy to be here today talking to you guys. Today, we're going to talk about lymphatic massages. I want to share with you guys a little bit of my technique and how I came from Brazil and I brought my own lymphatic method here and how it has completely changed my life. I am a lymphatic lover and I really love talking about it. So I'm very excited for today. I came from Brazil to LA about 7 years ago. And lymphatic is the only thing I've always done in my life since I was like a child, because it's a part of my culture in Brazil. And as I was growing up, I could see like my mom, my grandma, my family getting it done all the time. It's really big in Brazil. And when I finished high school, I went to college, then I did my master's degree, and I put my own methodology together, which is something that it took me years of practicing and like massaging different people. And then I brought it here to LA. When I came to LA, nobody knew what lymphatic massage was. It was still very much only for after surgeries and more like the American way of doing it. So I wasn't sure if I would be able to convince people to try my methodology. I could barely speak any English. I had no money. I was just like hoping for the best. The only thing I had was my hands. And I was slowly massaging people, a bunch of them for free, because it was the only way they would try my methodology. And I was like, hopefully they will like it and they will refer me for their friends and family. And that's exactly how it happened. And slowly I was building a community, and then I was growing. And like now I have a spa in Beverly Hills. I have 8 girls working for me here. We are also opening a new location. And I have a training program where I teach people my methodology, because I see like how much lymphatic massage change people's lives and clients love it. It's an amazing treatment that helps with your health. It helps with how you feel. You look better, you feel better, your brain works better. Lymphatic is everything. It's the best treatment in the world. So this is a little bit of my story. And now I want to show you guys before and after pictures. Those are pictures I took, and those are real results, no Photoshop. So lymphatic massage does have the power of make people look skinnier right away. Like after one session, you get rid of the water retention that people have on the tissues of the body. And when this water goes away, you can see more the muscles, you can see the definition. And clients love it because in 1 hour, they look so much better. So they like to get it done before events, before any type of photo shoot. However, lymphatic is so much deeper than how you look like, because this fluid retention, it actually has bacteria, viruses, and things that we don't want to have inside of us, like toxic trash. So when we flush it out, when we push it out of the body, we actually are able to make the immune system stronger, which in my opinion is the main benefit of getting lymphatic massages, because the lymphatic system is a part of the immune system, and you are basically making the soldiers of your body stronger by getting lymphatic massage, because you are flushing out toxins and viruses and everything that can make you sick. Lymphatic drainage nowadays is a luxury treatment because the demand is very high, and the amount of people able to get it done properly are still very low. So in my opinion, it's the perfect timing to be a lymphatic drainage provider somehow. Here in LA, we have such a high demand. We see all celebrities you can think of, and everybody just loves it. It's getting very popular. So if you're thinking about working with lymphatic drainage, this is the perfect timing because people are aware of it. They want to get it done, but still the demand is so much higher than the amount of people able to give them a good lymphatic massage, regardless if it's from hands or from machines, from LPG, regardless of the way they're doing it. The demand is really high, and it's a luxury treatment. Like, people pay for it, they don't mind it, and it gives them basically everything they are looking for in only 1 hour, because they look better, they look skinnier, your brain feels more alert, you have more energy because we are moving blood to the brain, we are moving oxygen to the brain. They feel lighter right away. And it's really addicting because you feel all those benefits together in only one session. So when they leave the room, they want to book again and they get addicted. And it's a very special relationship that you are able to build with clients, because you see them basically like every week or every couple weeks, and they are there very vulnerable, because you are touching their bodies. And you basically become also a psychologist, because they talk to you about everything that's going on in their lives. They share about their problems, and you build a very special connection with the clients, which makes it very nice for you to work. Like, I want to go to work. I love going to work. I love seeing my clients. So I'm very happy doing what I do, not just because I love and believe in lymphatic drainage, but also because of the connection you build with clients. And here we see retaining high-end clients through lymphatic drainage. Because of everything that I said, I believe it's very easy to retain those high-end clients, because they are looking for something that will give them everything they are looking for in a quick amount of time. And through lymphatic drainage, you are able to give them health, you are able to give them beauty, convenience, because they just have to lay down there. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to do any exercises. And those high-end clients, they love convenience. They like to just lay there and get all those benefits in only 1 hour. So if you are able to build this good relationship with them, and at the same time give them a good lymphatic drainage, you have those clients for life. Like, when I think about my clients from when I started 7 years ago here in LA, when I couldn't even speak English, like, I don't even know how they are still with me, because in the beginning I couldn't communicate with them. I see like how special lymphatic drainage is, because you really are able to retain those people for life. They love you, they love the treatment, they love talking about life with you, and the benefits of the treatment just keep getting better over the years, because you basically put their bodies in a position where it makes it almost impossible for the body to be bloated again. You are able to, in a way, teach the lymphatic system to flush out the toxins even when you don't massage them. I like to give this example to my clients to make it easier for them, and I'll give it to you guys. If you were a sink, the drain of the sink would be your lymph nodes, and the pipes would be your lymphatic system. If you keep cleaning the sink like every week or every couple weeks, you never give the sink the chance to get full of water or clogged again because you're always cleaning it. So I tell my clients that their pipes are always open and flushing as long as they keep getting lymphatic drainage, which is what happens. And also, like, they see that they don't get sick anymore as often. They're able to get better results at the gym. Their gut feels better, works better. They're able to go to the bathroom every day because the body is not holding on toxins, and they don't feel bloated anymore. So throughout the years, your clients will keep seeing the benefits of lymphatic drainage just getting bigger, and that makes them come back to you even more often. It's very nice working with lymphatic drainage. I'm sure that a lot of you guys here already do it, and you know what I'm talking about. It's a very special career, and it's the anchor for a successful wellness business because you can't match lymphatic drainage with basically any other wellness business. If you do facials, if you do like even makeup, I have friends who do makeup and they like to do lymphatic on their client's face before doing the makeup. I have friends who are like personal trainers and they like to teach their clients some lymphatic techniques so they can see the muscles easier. I have some friends who are even doctors and they teach their friends and their clients lymphatic drainage techniques to do after surgeries or when people are sick so they can get better easier. It's a very nice treatment because you can combine it with everything. When we talk about wellness, we are talking about treatments that release toxins. And lymphatics, the main one from them all, it's the easiest one to get it done because there is no downtime. It's 100% holistic. It feels very good. You just have to lay there. So it's the best treatment to do either alone or in combination with any other wellness treatment. Now I'm going to give the speech to my friend Alex. She also works with lymphatic drainage. She has a space here in LA and she's amazing. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful to hear your story. My name is Alexandra. I go by Alex. I relate to so much to what you have said, your journey. There's a lot of similarities. Just like yourself, just like Rebecca, I was not born and raised in America. I'm Polish. I came to New York at the age of 22. That was back in 2000. I was not a therapist at the time. My family, my parents are college educated, and they put a very strong pressure on me growing up that I have to get higher education, ideally business. And even though I did have inclination to manual work and things that are creative at heart, I always say I'm a fixer. I love improving things. I love making things better. I like making them look better. So even though I had that inclination, my parents weren't necessarily fully in support of that. And so I pursued in my early 20s education. I studied business back home in Poland. I moved to New York to actually learn English. Europe has a very strong pressure on knowing more than one language, very ideal. So I spoke Polish, I spoke German, and English was the missing link. So I figured, well, I can come to America, I can enroll in a college, continue my education, and learn English. And that's what I did. I moved to New York. I enrolled at City University. I studied psychology, so I kind of shifted a little bit away from business. And well, I needed an income. And so I got hired at a local spa in Brooklyn little boutique spa, very cute. And I was their front desk receptionist. I was the office manager. And through work at the spa is when I got exposed to endermology. And I generally say that in the first part of my career as an endermology technician, really endermology chose me. I really didn't even know the treatment existed. I came across it during a trade show at the Javits Center, and there was an LPG booth, and they were doing a demo of the treatment. I hop on a table, 30 minutes. I get off the table, and my pants are literally falling off. Wow. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and I am flying to Florida. I'm getting certified, and I become an endermology technician. The treatment was very popular in the office. It was the only treatment for the body that the spa was offering. They did facials, a lot of facials, waxing, nails, and endermology. I was the only technician. And we got to the point that I was performing 6 to 8 treatments a day. And everybody was happy. It took me about a year to perfect the method, to really I played on myself. I would put the bodysuit on, hop on a table, and just play with the machine settings so that I could understand when I get a client feedback, if they feel something, I wanted to know what it is that they really feel. I wanted to put myself in their shoes. And that first year, I've really dove deep into making the maneuvers as smooth as possible to make it feel as good as possible. And people were really happy. I was getting feedback from my clients at that time that I took it in. It was a wonderful compliment, but I think until a little bit later, I didn't really understand why they were having those experiences. And what I'm saying here, it wasn't just a cellulite reduction, it wasn't just the inch loss, but there was some underneath, there was a wellness improvement. I had a client who used to travel from Pennsylvania to New York to drop her kids off at the Polish school. And she told me, you know what, I don't know if it's related to endermology, but I don't have a pain in my foot anymore. And she used to actually have to have it medically treated. And she didn't have to anymore. It wasn't until I moved from New York to LA, and at that time, I chose endermology as my career, and then dove a little bit deeper into education. I pursued my esthetician license, massage license. I've done a lot of other trainings to kind of complement what I know from those 2 schools. Those were more specialized trainings. It wasn't until I completed those that I actually understood why did those clients have those positive, that kind of positive response. And I think when I think about, Rebecca, about your situation and my situation, why are we successful? Why are we successful? And when I'm saying successful, I don't think a lot of people realize that about 20% of brand new businesses go out of business within the first year. And by year 10, almost 70% fail. And Rebecca is successful because our doors are still open. We're seeing clients, we're getting reviews. I am 17 years into it in Los Angeles, and we're successful. We haven't failed. We didn't close the doors because we chose technologies. Treatment in your situation, I work with machines. That's where my heart is. We chose treatment technologies that have a proven track record of delivering results. And on top of picking the right treatment that we connect with, treatment that we're passionate about it, we're also very deeply educated in it. And that's why we're still here. That's why we're talking to you here right now about how wonderful lymphatic drainage and how wonderful adding the wellness aspect into beauty is, because in the end, when a client comes to my office, yes, they are coming because they want to see reduction in cellulite. They usually are coming because they're in some way not fully happy with the way they look and with the way they feel, and they want that enhancement. And with a treatment like andromology, with lymphatic drainage massage, we can deliver a holistic and cohesive treatment. We're not treating just one body part, we're working on the body on a systemic level. And this is why I chose andromology. Originally, it was chosen for me. Just by chance, I encountered the treatment, I got certified. But when I moved to LA, I created a whole structure and a whole business model that evolves around andromology. It is a wonderful treatment as a standalone treatment. It's an FDA cleared treatment, which tells me as a technician, as a business owner, that the results that I'm promoting out there to the world, that those results are, I can replicate them from client to client. And not only that, I can give the treatment to my assistant and she is going to be able to replicate those results as well. So there is a consistency of results of each treatment and of a package of sessions of 10. And that is important to me. On top of it being an FDA cleared treatment and having proven track record of results, which are based, and you can pull up a bunch of peer-reviewed published studies, I also know the treatment is safe. I do not want to injure anyone. I want my clients to come in. I want them to lay down. I want them to get treated. I want them to like the treatment. I don't want the treatment to be painful. I don't want any side effects, and I want them to be safe. And working with a technology that has, at this point, next year, it's going to be 40 years presence on the market. That is something that's very important for me because honestly, if the treatment didn't work, it wouldn't have lasted that long. I would not have lasted for 23 years as an andromology technician. I am here because I work with the right tools. And I think that was probably one of the smartest decisions that I did when I decided to start my company here in Los Angeles, is to go with andromology, go back to the treatment and build around this. So it is a standalone treatment, but it is also a catalyst. It's a catalyst to everything else that you do in your little beauty regimen and what you do with your fitness. I pair my andromology treatments with radiofrequency. Radiofrequency is meant more towards localized fat reduction. But if you're working with cool sculpting, if you're working with cryotherapy for localized fat reduction, if you understand what is actually happening on the cellular level, you will understand why you need to add some sort of vehicle that will help to evacuate all the waste material that gets created through the non-invasive fat reduction, because energy-based devices are geared towards creating what we call apoptosis. It's a fancy term for saying basically it's a death of the fat cell. And just because it's died, it does not mean that it will leave your body. The only way it will leave your body is if you are having a healthy, highly functioning lymphatic system. And in order to have that, you either have to do muscular contraction, fitness. You can do infrared saunas, you can do lymphatic massages, or you can do andromology, which is basically mechanical stimulation of the tissue that activates your lymphatic system and your circulation. So it is a standalone treatment. I've been successful with just that for 6 years in New York and about 8 years in Los Angeles. But it is a catalyst to any non-invasive treatments that you do for localized body contouring. It is also a vital part in treating client post-surgically, and not just after. I think there's also something to be said that if you pre-treat with regular sessions of lymphatic drainage, andromology, you are actually preparing the client's body for the trauma that it's about to unfold. Surgery is trauma. The first system that will respond to that trauma is your lymphatic system. So you want to make sure that the client is treated prior to that to actually create a reduction in existing systemic inflammation before they go into surgery. Then I generally recommend manual therapy for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then we transfer our clients to endermology treatments in order to not only continue with that lymphatic health, but also to prevent fibrosis. Prevention in fibrosis, it actually what can dictate whether the surgery was successful or not. We can avoid revision of surgery. And then there's also another aspect of endermology. It is a wellness treatment. If you understand and you dive a little bit deeper in lymphatic health, you will understand how important the system is. Rebecca has already touched quite a bit on that. It does reduction on inflammation. If you have chronic pain, unless it's related to a specific injury, you have inflammation in your body, and you don't want to keep that because your lymphatic system is responsible for your immunity. It's responsible for proper metabolism. It's linked to brain fog, and it's linked to your hormones. So, you know, you can have a great car, you can put fantastic gas into it, but if your oil is old and you don't change the filters, the car will not work at its best level. And so adding endermology into your weekly routine will really enhance not just your beauty and your aesthetics, it will improve results from non-invasive body and fat reduction treatments that you pay money for, but it will also improve your overall health and wellness. I will also say something, actually, I completely skipped my results. So the top two results you can see, these are results from a series of endermology. This is just from endermology. This is working on virgin tissue, and this is what clients love about the treatment is that not only it feels good, they feel like their body is rejuvenated right after, but it does deliver a much better body contour and better silhouette. What this means is they might be wearing a short sleeve top. They might be wearing shorts. Confidence. I mean, I've had a client who came to me crying because she was so insecure that she wouldn't get undressed in front of her husband. And that's what Rebecca has mentioned as well. You know, body carries an aspect of shame. If the body doesn't look the way we want it to look, we carry a sense of shame with that. So to be able to help your client feel better, I mean, you're changing and improving their life. The two lower pictures, that is post-surgical endermology application. A client on the left, she actually had 2 back-to-back surgeries. She did liposuction on her abdomen. She did a revision because of fibrosis. Now, in her specific situation, this was not even 10 sessions. We weren't able to finish the whole protocol as she was traveling. But I mean, the improvement was amazing. She was so happy. I was happier. Client on the right, similar story. She had, I want to say, 2 liposuction surgeries. She's also had a thigh lift. But we were able to achieve a pretty nice improvement in overall skin tone, cellulite reduction, especially on her saddleback area. And again, this is a treatment that feels good. There is no side effects, and they can return to their daily routine without any interruption. I also would like to say that there is something that we are noticing now in the beauty industry. It's shifting to more of a wellness-driven industry. The clients that are coming in, they're not only very well educated about everything that's out there, but a lot of them, if not majority of them, they already are incorporating some sort of holistic wellness into their life because, well, we marry later in life, we have kids later in life, we don't necessarily retire at 65, and we want to feel and look good for as long as possible. And so incorporating treatments like endermology into your weekly routine on top of your fitness is really one way of achieving just that. I will also say one more thing here is I heard a colleague of mine use the phrase of quiet aesthetics, and I will borrow this from her. The clients that are coming through my door, when they're coming for consultation, they do not want to have a result that screams, I had the base facelift. They want to hear a compliment. Wow, you look so good. What are you doing? And that's what quiet beauty, quiet aesthetic is. You look good, but you can't really put a finger on what it is that you really are doing. And people want to look good because, not because they paid for it. They want it to look as if they put the work into looking good. And that's the clients that we have now. Thank you so much. I will give it back to John.
All right, thank you so much, Alexandra. Before we start our Q&A, just a moment, please. I'm going to hand it off to Robert Babick, who is the Managing Director at LPG America, just for a brief moment. Robert, over to you.
Thank you, John. So I'd like to just say thank you both to Rebecca and Alex. You guys were great, and I appreciate you guys taking the time away from your businesses and your clients to talk about tech and treatment, specifically the lymphatic drainage and the importance it has for your business and for your clients, and how it's made you guys both incredibly successful. I think in both. Listening to you both, the one key thing that is super important is that in both your situations, the target is not necessarily an aesthetic result. It's more a result about clients coming in and feeling better, and looking better is great, but they want to just feel better. And so the nice thing about this is it's a treatment where you're not chasing some kind of before and after, some immediate, immediate success. The immediate success is that they physically feel better, and I guess one of my benefits of being here a part of LPG is I get the LPG treatments daily as well, maybe not daily, but I should say weekly, and I enjoy some of the protocols we have. We have a great, it's called Vitality, Stress, and Sleep Protocol. It's based on working kind of along the nervous system to help with improved sleep, reduce stress, anxiety, but it also works with the lymphatic system, as Alex mentioned, and it's really kind of the core of what she's done, and she's found ways to combine other things with it, other aesthetic treatments that do well on their own, but obviously when you mix them with LPG, you get so much more of an enhanced result, even in Rebecca's case, and also Alex's case, post-surgical, so you have pre and post applications, and the other important part, I think, for both of your businesses, and I think anyone else out there that's in this industry, is the consistency of the treatment and the consistency of the results. And Rebecca was very modest, but I know she's had at times 2,300 people on a waiting list for her treatment, for her technique, and she had to evolve, and she had to, as she mentioned, bring on more people. And I think she mentioned she has 9 people that are working for her now. She did have a menu of services and kind of condensed it down to just one, where she customizes her treatments a little bit, but this is her featured treatment. And so consistency is key. And if you can't get that, then that's when you have, your clients coming in and they request you, and then maybe they get somebody else and they're not happy. And then, you have a customer satisfaction issue and potentially maybe a reputation issue. So adding either, obviously very well-trained people, that's number one. But number two, if there's anything you can do to make the treatments more consistent, make your results more consistent, make the feeling that the patients or clients are experiencing more consistent, the better, more proven results you'll have. And that's exactly what LPG's done on the technology side, is we provide treatments that are incredibly consistent. We have scientific studies proving the efficacy of blood flow, lymphatic drainage, increasing 300 and 400%, multiple hours after a session, nearly 40 years in business, and about 170 clinical studies to back up the technology. So it is not we're not saying this is instead of, this is a tool to utilize for lymphatic drainage. We also have protocols and aspects for aesthetics and other wellness applications as well, even pre and post recovery. Athletes utilize the technology for recovery. So it's LPG, the endermology treatment is a very broad technology, and really I like to say we treat everything soft tissue. We've just decided to really hit on lymphatics today, and it's such an important part. It's almost a central point for everything. Health, wellness, beauty, aesthetics, all coming together. So I just wanted to kind of throw those things out there and thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, John. I think we're ready to move to the questions and answers.
Okay, excellent. Yes. So it is time for today's Q&A. If you have not submitted your questions yet, you can do so now by going to the Submit Questions window on your screen. Okay, the first question is for Rebecca. What is your best advice for someone who wants to start offering lymphatic drainage?
First of all, you have to learn a good technique, like a technique that actually works, because it doesn't matter how nice you are or how good the timing is, but if you're not able to deliver results, you're not going to be able to keep your clients or even like to have them for the first time, because also everything works by word of mouth. And if people don't like your service, they're not going to refer you to their friends, their families. So number one, you have to learn a proper technique. You have to study. You have to understand what happens inside of the body, the anatomy of the lymphatic system, anatomy of the blood system. So then you learn a technique that works for different types of clients, and you're going to deliver results. And number two, you have to learn about business, because also doesn't matter how good your technique is, if you're not able to give a good customer service, if you're not able to deal with your finances, with your clients, with your problems, with your employees, even if you don't have employees, you are your own business. If you work alone by yourself, you are a business. So you have to know like how to separate things from your personal life to your business. And I would say those two things, a good technique and learn how to do business. Then it's success.
Okay, well, let's piggyback off that a little bit. So you've built an impressive list of clients, from celebrities to top wellness figures. How did that journey begin?
Sometimes I even think about how it always started, because everybody asks me, who was the first celebrity that you saw? And everything was just happening by word of mouth. Like, recommendation is the best way to get clients. I never spent $1 in any type of PR. I never paid for any magazine or anything. I don't even know how to do that. And all my clients came from referrals. So I would see like normal people like us, and they would refer me someone and then someone else. And when I saw it was a celebrity, that sometimes I didn't even know there was a celebrity because I had just moved here. So if they were not like big celebrities that I used to see in Brazil, I didn't know who they were. And I actually didn't want to know, because like that would make me feel nervous maybe. And I would just keep seeing people. And then when I saw I had like the Kardashians, Hailey Bieber, Jennifer Aniston, and I was like, how these people found me? But the quick answer is word of mouth, always the best way.
Word of mouth. Excellent. One more for you, Rebecca. What makes your lymphatic drainage technique different from a traditional approach?
As I said, in Brazil, lymphatic is huge, and people use different techniques depending on what they want to target. So some people work in hospitals with older people, sicker people. Some people work on models, on younger people. Like, it depends on what you want to target. You have different methodologies there. But when I came here, I wanted to put all those good methodologies together in one methodology that works for everybody. Because since I was here alone and lymphatic drainage wasn't a thing here, I wanted to do something that could work for every single client that I could see. So my technique, besides getting rid of the water retention, we also shape the body tissues because it's stronger than the regular lymphatic drainage. And we do movements that will help you to have the contouring of the body besides getting rid of the water retention. It targets very well the gut, so people can go to the bathroom more often and they feel like very sculpted afterwards.
Okay, keep those questions coming in. Thank you for that. Keep those questions coming in on the submit questions window. Alexandra, how does combining hands-on expertise with technology enhance results?
So in my office, I use more tool-assisted fascia therapy, specifically Graston technique and fascia blaster. There are times where I would want to step away from suction, and that's what endermology utilizes. And so I will specifically, if I have a client that has a very fibrotic tissue or old fibrosis from surgery, I might be shifting, sometimes combining in one treatment. Sometimes I will alternate where I do more fascia-assisted therapy just to break down through the adhesions. And then I'll go back to endermology, because in some instances I would have to use too much of a suction, which not going to be ideal when I have a client who's a little bit older and the skin is starting to lose laxity. So there is a time and place for everything, right? Sometimes you have to fly, take a boat, and take a bike to get from point A to B, and that's how I look at body aesthetics and body sculpting. There is a right tool for a specific situation, and with the right education and enough experience, you should be able to figure out when to use what, and ideally combining this all together.
Thank you for that answer. Robert, how has endermology changed over the years? Let's say 5 to 10 years ago is the question. What is the advantages of new technologies compared to past models or machines?
Yeah, absolutely. The change is substantial from a user perspective, even from the way it feels and the results that we're getting. Years ago, it was you had to be an expert, right? I mean, you had to have all your formalized training, and then you, and quite like Alex does, you would adapt the treatment to the particular things you were working on. And, we were primarily known years ago as the first device approved globally for the treatment of cellulite. And it grew from there, right? We started realizing all these other great things coming from it. But you had to know all the settings, all the maneuver, all the techniques. And as LPG grew and we obtained more studies and more results, and we elaborated on the technology, we began to be able to treat more indications. And with that came, how do you keep it consistent, right? You could go to 2 places, and it's up to each person as an expert, and then maybe you do 2 different things, and somebody feels like, okay, well, I like that one better, so they must be better. And we really incorporated into protocols. So we have in the newer device, the Cellium 6 Infinity, a potential of thousands of protocols that you could implement preset. Right, so the therapist could go in and choose, a lower body detox or a cellulite treatment or a VSS protocol, and it'll time it out over the patient or over the client, minute by minute, step by step. So that way you're delivering that consistency that we're talking about. Obviously, we want clients to enjoy the treatment, to come back. Both in Rebecca and Alex's business, the important part is that clients are coming back because they like it, not because they feel obligated. So that's part of our thing. Wellness is an ongoing thing, just like fitness. You got to go to the gym. You can't just go to the gym for 2 months and then expect that to stay for the rest of your life. So aesthetics is a little different. We have longer term results there, but in terms of the technology, I would say the biggest changes we've had is with this newer technology, the Infinity, that we launched earlier this year. The protocols, step-by-step process. We have a new Infinite Waves program. We have a new Vitality, Sleep, and Stress protocol for stress and, like I said, better sleep, reducing insomnia by almost 55%, reducing stress by nearly 51%. As a matter of fact, first session, we can reduce cortisol by almost 20%, just one 40-minute session. So these protocols have been proven scientifically, and then we build on that and implement it in the platform so that, as long as you're trained, it can be carried out.
All right, thank you for that answer, Robert. Another question coming in. Let's get this to Rebecca. How do you navigate the discrepancies in some treatments that aren't technically lymphatic with deeper techniques and tools that actually increase inflammation?
Like if you really know how to do it, you're not going to increase inflammation. That's why I said that you have to learn the anatomy of the body, the anatomy of the lymphatic system. Like in Brazil, again, because it's such a big thing, we know we have to go to school. We know we have to get the certifications because we are also working hospitals and everything. It's almost a type of nursing. But here in the US, what I see is that some business just open because they are focused on money. They don't know what to do. They don't have knowledge or like a good machine like LPG. They don't have resources. They just do whatever. And then they hurt clients. And that's why like some people complain about getting hurt after getting a lymphatic massage, or people use tools that actually hurt the tissue when they're not supposed to do that. Or they use the same technique on every single person, but like some people are stronger than others. So if you don't really know what you're doing, you're going to end up hurting people. But if you know, you can use whatever tool you like, you will know how to use it, and you're just going to give good results.
All right, another question for you, Rebecca. The question is, Rebecca, what is the difference between the traditional lymphatic method and your lymphatic method?
I think you've asked this one already.
Okay.
But like the traditional one basically just goes very light on the surface of the skin. And I don't really like that methodology because I don't think that it does much. I don't think clients like it. And LPG is stronger, it's more relaxing. And again, you can change the settings depending on what you want to target. And my methodology the same, like it's stronger. You can shape the tissue of the body. It's enjoyable for the client because they don't feel like annoyed that you're just going very light on the skin. That's what they tell me.
All right. Alexandra, question for you. What advice would you give professionals who want to introduce LPG endermology to their business?
Well, for sure, don't buy a used device and perform treatments without certification. I mean, I work with a lot of different technologies. Endermology is my core, but they offer the longest training that's available. It's 2 days. A lot of devices come with 4 hours. So I would say definitely buy directly from the company. Do get certified. Ensure that you have proper licensing in place. In most states, that means, massage license. And you actually really want to have a massage license because you should understand what it is that you're doing. It also helps you to recognize if a client is not the right candidate for the treatment, or they have some sort of underlying conditions. Even though we fill out intake forms that are very detailed, some people are not necessarily always honest, and you have to be able to carry out a proper consultation, anatomy screen. You should palpate the tissue and just kind of put it all together, because sometimes you catch things that they have not put in the intake form that could be a contraindication.
All right, keep those questions coming in. Just enter the question in your submit questions window at any time. This is for both of you, Rebecca and Alexandra. What feedback do you hear from clients that just keeps them coming back?
I will answer first. They say that they were not expecting to have such long time results, Because as I said, and Alex said the same, people come to you because they're like, oh, I want to look smaller. They don't really know what they're doing. They just come, they're curious. But then after keep coming for a while, they see that the immune system really changes. Guys, the lymphatic system is a part of the immune system. It's where your body stores the white blood cells, which are the defense cells of the body. So if you keep the white blood cells in a clean house, in a beautiful house, those soldiers of the body will be stronger. And that's the feedback I hear the most. Besides that, the metabolism really speeds up because we are moving blood flow, we are moving lymphatic flow. Like, why guys have a higher metabolism than women? Because they have more muscles, they have more blood flow. And then when women keep coming to get a lymphatic massage and you keep moving the blood flow, you get closer to guys' metabolism. So they also lose weight. They say that they don't see as many cellulites anymore. So I definitely would say that in the long term, the results are much deeper than in the short term. What would you say, Alex?
I think, generally speaking, I have yet to encounter a person that comes off my table and would say, oh my goodness, I hated it. They love it. They love it so much that when we turn them around and it's like pretty much the finishing touches, they're like, oh my goodness, please don't stop. I want to continue. And I know the feeling because I get the treatments as well. And I just get reminded, oh my goodness, this feels so good. I can't believe this is what I'm giving to my clients on the table. But I think the most feedback that we get is the feeling of lighter legs, better oxygenation. My perception when I did the treatment down is that I feel like my tissue is breathing. Like it just, like you come out of like dirty air area and you go out into the nature and you're like, you're breathing and the tissue, the body feels alive. That's very often the feedback that we get. With consecutive sessions, it kind of shifts a little bit more towards that aesthetic aspect, right? Generally, we get about 30% reduction in cellulite, some cases more, slimmer, right? Better tone. I don't like to call this a tightening treatment because there's really no scientific measures to tighten the tightening effects. But you usually subjectively see a better tone. Confidence, taking confidence, I get a lot of that. Enhanced weight loss results, more regular cycles. I've had that one.
Yes, for sure.
Right, I had clients that were trying to get pregnant, and it's hard when you skip a cycle or two, and they actually would have a husband tell them, "Hey, you need to go see Alex." And I think I helped create some babies out there. What else? I've had clients tell me that they had less acne breakouts. That also, of course, can be traced back to healthier lymphatic and regular detoxing. And what else? Less pain, less inflammation. And, people that were, let's say, they were getting cold sculpting done, they actually had results. Because some people will get cold sculpting treatments and there is no change after that. So definitely that enhancement of the more advanced contouring techniques.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for those answers. Rebecca, question comes in. How often do you need to get lymphatics done? It's kind of a few questions in one. So how often do you need to get lymphatics done? Is there anything you can do from home? And how do you communicate that to clients?
It's hard because I don't like to be pushy or to sound like pushy to my clients. Actually, I'm completely the opposite. So when you tell them to come every week, for example, it can sound pushy. So the way I tell them, because the ideal is every week. Like when you get it done every week, you don't give your body any time to retain fluid again. So you put your body in a mode where it's going to really speed up everything, like your metabolism, as I said, your blood flow, your lymphatic flow, and clients see results like this. But how do you tell it to clients? So I always say, if you have all the time and all the money in the world, like in the perfect world, I would tell you to come once a week. But if you cannot come once a week, you can come once every couple weeks, or like at least once a month. And you can do stuff at home to improve your lymphatic flow. On my Instagram, Detox by Rebecca, I teach as much as I can. Like, I'm an open book. Sometimes I even question myself why I share so much, but I don't mind. I want people to really work with me as a team. I want my clients to be able to improve their lymphatic system at home. So they can do self massages, they can do lymphatic techniques like tongue scraping, legs up the wall, and they are somehow speeding up the lymphatic system in between treatments. And that's how I communicate with them. I try to teach them how to do stuff at home. And I tell them, you can come whenever you can, but in the perfect world, I would suggest you to come once a week.
All right. Yes.
I would love to jump into that one because it usually works during consultations. I always take it back to fitness. Most people understand that if you go to Pilates class, you go to a yoga class, you go to the gym, you lift weights, if you do it once a week and you do it for 4 weeks, do you physically see that much of a change? It is a commitment. So what you do in the gym, in the Pilates studio, and yoga studio for your muscular tone, endermology, Rebecca's technique, that's what we do for the fascia. It needs a little bit of a workout as well. And that usually clicks in people's head that this is not just a sales gimmick. This is not like, please come in here as often as possible so I can fill my pockets. There is a component of commitment because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So obviously what you have been doing right now in your life is just not working because you're here for a reason. So you have to change. And incorporating change like every couple of weeks, it's great. It's a healthy treatment. So you will have that wellness improvement. But for aesthetic change to happen, you do have to commit. You have to show up.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Alex. Another question coming in for both of you then, for Alex and Rebecca. How do you grow on social media? And this might be the final question we have time for today, but how do you grow on social media? I see that it is very hard to stand out in the beauty and wellness industry when it comes to that because content is usually not that interesting.
Yeah, I would say, sorry?
You have a great Instagram. I love. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because it's basically a full-time job to think about content. And yeah, lymphatic drainage can be something boring if you don't find ways to explain it, like fun ways, dynamic ways to explain it. So I don't know, over the years, I was trying to make it fun and I was able to grow my Instagram, and then I started liking it. Because in the beginning, it was more like a work for me to do social media. But then when I started liking it and learned how to communicate with my public in a nice way, in a fun way, I was able to really grow my social media. And I see that a lot of clients find us through social media. So that's an advice I'll give to anybody who has a business, even if, again, you're working by yourself alone, you are your own business. You have to also focus on social media because that's how you present yourself to anybody else who is not in the room with you getting the treatment from you. So anybody else who looks for lymphatic drainage or for endermology, they're going to try to find you on Instagram or TikTok. So you have to know how to present yourself for those people and somehow explain what you do so they will learn from you and they will try to come to you. What would you
Anything
say,
to add, Alex?
Yeah.
I'm not a public person, so for me, making a reel is like pulling teeth. I do it because it's part of the business, but I don't think for my business it's the driving force. The way I see it is, and from what I know from business education, is that it takes about 6 to 8 weeks from a client to make a decision to commit, whether it's a product or a service. And it really depends on exposure and how many times they're exposed. And they call it like no friction decision. And what that really means is, let's say a friend might say to a girlfriend, hey, you know, I've been going to Conturum, I'm getting endermology treatments. I love it. I feel so good. So message received. Now they might go on Instagram and maybe somehow they're gonna come across my profile. And then it'll be like, I really want to know more about this treatment. Let me look up this business. They might look me up on Yelp. Then they might go on Google. And then eventually there becomes like no friction, right? What they see on my wall, on my posts, on my reels has a certain look to it. They might listen to some of the reels and find it helpful and relevant. And then they look at reviews and they see what people are saying. Does this align with what they saw on Instagram or Facebook? So if there is no friction if that in all of that process, that's usually when the client decides to commit. So there is a little bit of a lag. And in my case, Instagram is just one of the tools to have exposure, to validate that I'm open and that we do things. It allows the client to have a look inside of the office. It allows them to meet me and my staff, my partner before they come in. But I struggle a little bit with being overexposing, because most of my clients, when they come in, they're shy. They do not want to show their cellulite prone legs out in the public. They wear long pants. How on earth am I supposed to put them in front of camera and be like, hey, let me take some pictures of that because I want to post it on Instagram? So what I can show is slightly limited because I want to respect my clients' privacy. And I think they're coming here because they feel safe.
Thank you so much for that answer, both of you. And that's unfortunately all the time we do have for today. If we were not able to answer your question, we will do our best to follow after today's webinar. Now, as a reminder, a recording of this session will be available on demand within 24 hours. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Robert. And thank you for thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, guys.